In the vast expanse of human history, few concepts have intrigued, terrified, and inspired civilizations like the end of the world. Throughout time, different religions have woven their own stories of how the world will come to an end and what follows after. These apocalyptic tales are as diverse as the cultures that birthed them, each offering unique visions of destruction, rebirth, and the unknown. Today, we embark on a journey through these ancient narratives, comparing and contrasting the apocalyptic scenarios from some of the world's major religions. Our story begins in the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, where the seeds of apocalyptic thought were first planted. The Sumerians, the forebears of later civilizations, believed in a cyclical view of time. To them, the gods would occasionally unleash chaos upon the world, resetting it entirely. But it wasn't until the rise of the Abrahamic faiths that a more linear, final judgment began to take shape. In Christianity, the end of the world is marked by the return of Christ, a powerful and awe-inspiring event. The book of Revelation paints a vivid image of the final battle between good and evil, culminating in the triumph of Christ over Satan. In this scenario, the righteous are resurrected, and they enter the New Jerusalem, a holy city descending from heaven. A new heaven and earth will be created, where there is no pain, no sorrow, only eternal peace for those deemed worthy. For Muslims, the Day of Judgment is a momentous event where all individuals will be resurrected and judged based on their deeds. The Quran offers detailed descriptions of this day, where the earth will shake and the skies will darken. After the judgment, the righteous will enter paradise, an eternal garden of bliss, while the wicked will face the torment of hell. However, the ultimate mercy of Allah suggests that even those in hell may eventually find redemption, depending on divine will. Unlike the Abrahamic religions, Hinduism does not conceive of the end of the world as a single, final event. Instead, it follows the concept of Kalachakra, the wheel of time. At the end of each cosmic cycle, the world is destroyed by Shiva, the god of destruction, only for a new creation to emerge from the ashes. In this framework, death is not an ending, but a continual process of renewal, with souls undergoing rebirth until they achieve moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Buddhism presents a unique view of the end of times, not through a cosmic apocalypse, but through the cessation of suffering. The end of the world, as the Buddha taught, comes when all beings achieve nirvana, a state of perfect peace and liberation from the cycles of birth, suffering, and death. The Buddhist apocalypse is thus internal, a transformation of consciousness rather than the destruction of the external world. Once nirvana is attained, suffering ceases, and the cycle of samsara, the cycle of life and rebirth, is broken. In the cold northern lands of the ancient Vikings, the end of the world was foretold by the prophecy of Ragnarok. This cataclysmic battle between the gods and the forces of chaos would see the death of many gods, including Odin and Thor. Yet, from the destruction of the old world, a new one would emerge, more peaceful and prosperous. The idea of rebirth after destruction is central in Norse mythology, echoing the cyclical nature found in Hinduism, but with a distinct emphasis on the inevitable struggle between order and chaos. The ancient Mayans, famed for their astronomical knowledge, also believed in the cyclical nature of time. Their calendar, often misunderstood as predicting the end of the world in 2012, actually signified the end of a long cycle and the beginning of a new one. For the Mayans, the end of times was not a destructive event, but a renewal, a return of the gods, and a rebirth of the cosmos, heralding a new era of divine harmony. Despite the vast differences in these religious and mythological perspectives, there is a common thread running through all of them: the hope for a better world that follows the destruction, whether through divine judgment, rebirth, or enlightenment. Each of these apocalyptic visions reflects the human desire for meaning in the face of mortality. and the hope for a future that transcends the suffering of the present. As we look to the future, one thing is certain: the end of the world, however it may come, will be a defining moment in the story of humanity, and perhaps in some way it will also mark the beginning of something new.